The future of the scene is neon bright, but even signs on a neon strip can falter and switch off from time to time. Welcome to Everyone Who Does Music, where today we're checking out the third studio album from one of my favorite bands, Grayscale, called Umbra. I discovered these guys at a concert a couple years ago when they opened up for the band As It Is, and right away I noticed they had an undeniable presence and energy that was beyond infectious. It was coupled with stellar tracks off of their debut album Adornment too. Songs like Forever Yours, Come Undone, they were bombastic in nature, and they were pure pop punk energy and just beauty in a way that a lot of bands didn't have at the time. Because back in 2017 or 2018 when I saw them, I think it was 2017, there was a lot of bands doing the same thing over and over. These guys felt different. They felt like they had the same kind of energy in a different way with a different face. 2 years after that album, we received the more rock-centric Nella Vita, with this album focusing on showing just how much the band can stretch their creative limbs. And it turned into a very fruitful effort with a lot of high emotional moments and still the same sort of impact that they had back on Adornment. Songs such as Painkiller Weather and the effortlessly catchy Baby Blue were just impactful in a way that even songs on Adornment couldn't reach. It felt like Nella Vita was the band's way of saying, hey, you know those ideas we took last time? We're perfecting them, we're polishing them, we're turning them into pure diamond. I never got around, even in my spare time, to doing a proper ranking of 2019 albums, but when I eventually sit down and do that, hint hint in future videos, way in the future, because I got a lot of projects happening up, they'd place pretty favorably. When I heard the band that was getting to work on their third album, I decided to wait until a full release came around this time so I could experience the project in full. What I got when all was said and done was something very unexpected, both for better and for worse. Seeing as though I was going in on the full release without listening to anything beforehand, this meant, of course, it was tracklist order as usual. And the first track on the album took me for a pleasant ride right out of the get, with the song being, of course, Without You. The general fuck you kind of attitude was very reminiscent of some vocalists like Matt Healy from the 1975, or Alex Gaskarth from All Time Low, with the delivery and this overall lyricism dripping like honey, sweet, sweet honey, from the lyrics and from the song overall. There's a definite grand atmosphere coming from the song, combining the band's bass ideas and bass elements with almost orchestral moments. But overall, the band doesn't stray too far from its bass idea and its bass tones. This is still Grayscale, first track in. This sounds like something you could have had off of Nella Vita, but with, like I said, more polish, more effort to make it look like a more complete product. In fact, there's even a different change where after a couple choruses, all of a sudden the song feels like it's from a completely different artist, before centering things with a vocal line and then getting launched right into a straight up guitar solo. I did not expect guitar solos from a new Grayscale album at all. This juxtaposition early on sets the tones for some really unique moments to be expected from the rest of the album. And after listening to the rest of the album, that of course we're going to keep talking about, it really had me thinking, damn, this is going to be some unique shit. This is going to be Nella Vita Part 2. This is going to be Nella Vita on steroids. But while it set the stage for something fantastic, I feel like this intro song, if this is your first taste of the album, kind of sets an unrealistic expectation and sets itself up for almost some undelivered promises in a way. For example, let's skip a couple tracks ahead in the track list and talk about 3 songs that really just sound like the same thing with a couple different lyrics and a couple different ideas, essentially being parts 1, 2, and 3 of the same thing. Let's talk about Over Now, Dreamcatcher, and Live Again. They all compact with some sparkly guitar and just some overall nice effort put in to make it sound like a complete song from a complete set of songs, from someone who could have millions and millions of listeners and it could be on Central Rock Radio. But when those two elements come together, it sounds like the band recycled things outside of very brief sections. As you get into the third song, you kind of go back and think to yourself, okay, did that accidentally hit replay? What happened there? And all of a sudden you realize, oh, we're 3 songs deep. I never hit replay. Why does it sound the same? There's all these different things being put into the song, including background vocals from a choir and layered vocals throughout, but even those little touches aren't enough to differentiate them. The previous work from Grayscale, Adornment, Nella Vita, every song on the album felt unique. Even if it wasn't a fantastic song, it still felt different from the pack. So how is it that in the middle of this album, we have 3 songs that feel like they're the same? Grayscale has a definite way of applying glue to their albums and making it sound like a complete effort and complete journey. So why does the glue feel like it got put on a little too much and you accidentally made sort of amalgamation in the middle of the album? You're trying to immediately create a sense of emotion, a sense of urgency in a way. So when you put too much of that focus in trying to create something that's, I guess, more consistent, it comes and falls flat like this. There's definitely a feeling of commitment to creating emotive stories here, and it's not like the band is just contributing simple strumming, drum fills, and mid-range singing. There's differences when you really, really, really dig in, like what I do as a reviewer, But from a casual listening perspective, the general audience, there's really not a lot to individually dissect and get more than just more and more similarities. Oddly enough, I think this formerly purely angsty pop punk group of lads, they thrive when they're going for a more, I guess, big air quotes here, mainstream sound. They thrive, they glisten, crops are thriving and everything, all that. Straight up pop or pop rock sounds, they sound fantastic coming from these guys, especially in a song like Carolina Skies. The song holds similar qualities to those 3 tracks I spoke about just now, but offers a genuinely individual backing track, more so than just listening on base level. You can actually tell this is different, this is fresh. Not only melding with the stop and go singing from Colin here, but offers a new essence to take in overall. Admittedly, not gonna lie, even after listening to the slightly more subdued Nella Vita, the first time I went through this album, I hated every song. I'll admit, first listen, I hated everything. I was like, there's no fucking way. This is the band I saw back in 2017 at a No Barricades show saying, push up, let's fucking go. Like, there's no fucking way this is the same band. I hate this. But then listening more and more and hearing songs like this, Carolina Skies, makes me think to myself, all right, there's something to be had here. Maybe the sort of Nella Vita vibes turn up a notch. Maybe it's not so bad. I just let the album take my mind over, took out the bad parts or the not so impressive parts and looked at songs like this. Thought to myself, all right, this is a vibe I can get with. There's kind of a heavy word here, but there's a really big risk at play when an album sits around the 30-minute mark, whether it's just below or just above. A lot of fans are critical of a two year, sometimes longer gap in between releases, and all of a sudden you just get something that's around 30 minutes. A lot of people, like myself included, admittedly, are kind of used and kind of hoping for 40-minute to hour-long experiences with a band. And I know the 30-minute to 40-minute mark isn't a big thing, but it adds up when you consider that's possibly 3 to 4 songs right there extra. Comparatively, a smaller time length on an album can lead to bigger things as opposed to if it's an EP instead of an LP. Limits are meant to be tested just as bands constantly test themselves to evolve and switch up their formula. And I think the real shining moments come early on here in the album, in the first parts of this admittedly quick experience. Dirty Bombs is an anthem for trying to convince someone that the way they're going is just not the right way. In fact, I love the comparison in the song's title. It's more of a unique perspective and illusion, and I always love to see new ideas like that. If I start to sound weird in this review, I'm trying to read the script here and I don't know what the fuck I wrote, just bear with me. It's more of a unique perspective, and I always love illusions. Colin Walsh can communicate a lot of ideas and themes with his singing and the way he writes, but I think Motown is exemplary of one thing: horny. This song is a straight up sex soundtrack, and it's almost, I brought up this comparison a little earlier, it's very 1975-esque in a way that's like, yeah, you can vibe to this at a club, then you can vibe to it while you're using your vibe on your girlfriend or boyfriend. I can't really relate to this because I'm a sad, lonely worm, but it's a banger that deserves to be being played while you're creating a heated moment with your significant other. That's the whitest thing I could have said in this whole review. Holy shit. I think it's worth saying that my problems with Umbra aren't the content itself, but the way its momentum gets derailed by a less than great center, as I said earlier, with the 3-song stretch and other things. The first 4 songs carry themselves with confidence, but it almost feels like the band let that weight they forgot about crumble their legs beneath them with the 3-song stretch I discussed. You get Carolina Skies coming in and it's like, okay, maybe this is a saving grace. Maybe this is where they pick back up the momentum, they pick back up, they run with it. But Babylon and Light serve as little more than just kind of okay songs to not really capitalize on the momentum that Carolina Skies brings in. I want to say one thing, plain and simple. This new direction of pop rock is a bright, glittery, and sure to be a successful route for the band. I applaud the band for doing what they've done and creating what they've made, and looking to be doing more of this as the time goes on. But this isn't the best case for that future as opposed to the previous release Nella Vita, an album that I'll say it plain and simple, I think it was their best album out of these 3 especially. The band peaked with that, and while a lot of bands take a peak in their early goings, such as a sophomore album like that, and they keep it running, they keep momentum going, this album feels like, just like that 3-song stretch, derailing the train. Maybe they can come back from it though. I'm confident they'll come back from it, but right here, this just isn't impressive to me. And it's for that reason and the reasons I've talked about above that Umbra by Grayscale gets a 6.7 out of 10. And that's a review. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Do you agree with what I said? Do you disagree with what I said? Do you agree that Nella Vita is their best fucking album? I hope so. Well, we share that. Regardless, hope you're having a great day. Hope you're staying hydrated. Hope we can get a conversation going down in the comments below, no matter what you think. I just want to talk to y'all. I'm lonely, and I hope you have a good day. Bye.